expanding empire, LTNC locked in to Southeast Asia. Now, I read a lot. And so this idea came to me from reading this book. All right. It's called Expanding Empire, the Global War Drive of Big Business, and that the forces that will stop it. All right. One of the key phrases that I got from this book is the flag follows the dollar. We understand in this world we live in, money makes the world go round. A lot of the wars, actually, most of the world wars in history have been based off, business, money making. How can we expand our territories to make more money for our country? Rome did it, Britain did it, France did it, Spain did it. America's no different. So you want to make sure if you can find this book, it's kind of rare, but it was a great find, and I found a lot of stuff from it. And so Locked In is no different. All right, and we're going to get into it. And so first, we understand that Manny Pacquiao is our biggest endorser. He's on the board now. His team is a part of the marketing. His team's doing the marketing for our brand now. And we had news came out earlier this month in January of Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather fight announced for 2024. One of the biggest fights in boxing history. Could see a rematch. And now what people don't realize is Manny Pacquiao is under the Ryzen promotion that's out of Japan. He signed with the Japanese promotion in 2022, emphasis on 22, but failed to make it of any appearances in 2023. Now, I feel like that could be by design. You know why? Because Pluto will be in Aquarius from January 20th, 2024, which we are already in, through September 1st, 2024. Then in November 2024 through March 2043, we will be fully submersed into the age of Aquarius. If you know a little bit about astrology and the zodiac, the Aquarius sign is considered the water bearer. And so the energies are aligning for a company like Locked In to come in and succeed as the energies of the world allow it. And so I want to make a couple quick notes. Think about the Locked In design, red, white, and blue, all American flag brand, right? What about the Philippines flag? Red, white, blue, a little bit of gold as well. And then you have Japan with red and white in their flags. So in a lot of senses, our colors, our flag colors to our brand colors are very cohesive. And when we go back to the book Expanding Empire, in at the early 1900s, America took over the Philippines. And why was that? We annexed them. And part of it was, I believe, to get to the corridor, the Southeast Asian corridor, which is guarded by Japan, the Philippines, and Taiwan before you get into China. And militarily speaking, that was a very a key pivotal moment in gaining control in the South Pacific to combat China for anything along those lines. And if you don't know what a corridor is, it's usually a small passageway or a route. Here's a definition of it right here. And so let's go for some gematria. Japan, the Philippines, and Taiwan have always been the key to expansion in Asia markets. 333 English reduction, very powerful. Now let's get into some very simple gematria decodes. Think about water and Manny. Water and Manny equals 67 English ordinal, 22 English reduction, 68 reverse ordinal, and then there's a little bit of difference at 32 reverse reduction and 23 reverse reduction. But again, they mirror in the reverse. Now let's look at corridor, Ryzen Japan, Labor Smart Inc., LTNC, and Locked In. They all equal 55 in reduction. So there is a cohesiveness in the energy with Gematria, expanding our empire. You know, we heard about this, and I brought up on Twitter how, since we're going to Japan for this fight, a green tea nootropic drink would be a good option, because the Japanese, 70% of the population drinks green tea on a regular basis. So I think that could be a major brand. Going to the next slide, let's get into the Philippine and American War, 1899. So in Paris on December 10th, 1898, the United States paid Spain $20 million to annex the entire Philippine archipelagos. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And what annex means is really taking a land over to add to your domain and to your territory. So America paid 20 million to Spain to take over the Philippines. As you might know, the native Filipinos did not like that. So after its defeat in the Spanish-American War, 1898, Spain seceded its long-standing colony of the Philippines to the U.S. in the Treaty of Paris. On February 4th, 1899, just 2 days before the U.S. Senate ratified the treaty, fighting broke out between American forces and Filipino nationalists led by Emilio Aguinaldo, who sought independence rather than a change of colonial rulers. The ensuing Philippine-American War lasted 3 years and resulted in the deaths of over 4,200 Americans and over 20,000 Filipino combatants. As many as 200,000 Filipino civilians died from violence, famine, and disease. In a lot of cases, this has been the forgotten war in American history. It really didn't get a whole lot of media. In a lot of cases, I believe a lot of the Americans were, divided. Some believed we needed to expand our empire and have as much land as possible militarily. And other people, they just didn't want to be a part of it. Why are we always in wars? Why are we always fighting? But when looking at American history and how Locked-In has been building up its story, even though we're not in the military, we're still going to be taking over the world with our beverages. All right, we're still along that same line. And so what I would like to bring up is some date numerology. So on February 4th, 1899, which is when the fight started, look at the date numerology. 33. Days left in the year, 333 days. 0 is just a value placeholder, so it's still 33. Now, let's look at when the fighting stopped, all right? President Theodore Roosevelt proclaimed a general amnesty and declared the conflict over on July 4th, 1902. So that's the 4th of July, national holiday, the independence. So let's look at the numerology of that day, July 4th, 1902. We have 32, 23, 23, 13, 13. And this is what really gets interesting. All right, look at the Gematria for LTNC. We have LTNC equaling 13 in reduction, 23 in reverse reduction. You see the connection there. Our old name next level. All right, we have 23 in reduction and 31 reverse reduction. All right, remember 31 is just the reverse of 13. And you see the connection there, 23, 13, 31. Now we have Locked In, also equaling 32 in reduction, aligning perfectly with the date numerology on our day of independence, but also of the day Teddy Roosevelt proclaimed the American War was over. And so we have right here, Philippine-American War, 220 English Ordinal, the Philippine-American War, 1,333 in English Standard. We have the Japanese market, great for Locked In. Philippine-American War helped Coke, KO, 333 in English Ordinal. We also have the Coca-Cola Company benefited from America's tender offer to the Philippines. Now, what's a tender offer? A tender offer usually refers to an invitation to bid for a project, and it still happens today. when larger countries come into smaller countries, and they have when they're trying to expand the empire, they usually go to the leaders of that smaller country, say, hey, we'll help build the infrastructure in this land. All right, we'll create more jobs, everyone will get more money, but in return, it's usually with more control. This is the oldest thing in the book. China has been doing it to Africa. America has done it to the Philippines and other territories. Great Britain did it to America before our independence in the 1700s. All right. The tender offer is that, hey, we'll build out businesses so everybody can get rich, but in the end, it's usually for control. American tender offer equals 333 in reverse ordinal. USA's tender offer is for control, 133 in reduction. You could cast off the one, that's 33. War is started from refused tender, 137 English reduction, which is the 33rd prime. If you don't know what the 33rd, if you don't know what prime numbers are numbers that can only be divisible by itself in one. So 137 is the 33rd number of that caliber, very special number. The American flag follows USD tender, also equals 137 in English reduction, the 33rd prime. So you guys are seeing the importance of this. All right. And Coca-Cola, if you didn't know, they own a lot of the waterways in the Philippines already. They have that locked down. They actually pushed out Pepsi not too long ago because they control that land so much. Remember, the American flag follows the US dollar. That's how we expand empires. All right. So let's get into the next slide. Jesuit Joe, who I used to call Joe Pavlik, Coca-Cola in the Southeast Pacific influence. Now, first of all, if you guys remember when Joe Pavlik first started, doing his 100-day challenge back in 2021, he's very religious. He's Catholic. He's actually of the Jesuit Society of Jesus Faith. And if you guys don't know, it's a subsection of Catholicism. And what the Jesuits are known for is traveling to the different areas of the world, and spreading the greater glory of God, which goes to ad mortem. I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong. Ad mortem, Dei Gloriam, ADMG. So you actually see that on his Twitter profile as well. Very powerful subsection of the Catholic faith, very influential as well. And as we see, look, Jesuit Joe equals 33 in reduction, very powerful. And we'll get into Society of Jesus equals 56 in reduction. All right. And in a lot of cases, people don't realize a lot of the most successful companies in the world do have influence from the Society of Jesus and its Jesuit leaders. They've always been good in business. They've always been good with money. And so when you talk about symbolism of where LOCK'DIN is going now, as we cast our expansion hopes in Japan, the Philippines, and the Southeast Asia, I looked up, okay, where did the first Jesuits come from to go to the Philippines, right? And so in 1581, the first Jesuits from the province of Mexico arrived in the Philippines. Think about that. Who is our other newer sponsors, our brand people now? Well, we have Mexican descent, they're from Texas, but from their Mexican descent, the Figueroa family. And so that's a little connection right there. And so they're taking Jesuit Joe's products, with Mexican descent sponsors, and we're going to be going to Japan with Manny and hopefully influence that whole area with our new product. So this is where I'm going with this. This is, LOCK'DIN, playing out the American story not too long ago, about 120 years ago. So we have ad mortem, Dei Gloriam, LOCK'DIN LTNC equals 137 in reduction, the 33rd prime. And then we have Jesuit Joe Pavlik, Figueroa family, and Jesuit influence company is good. They both equal 333 in English ordinal, 135 in reduction, and 450 in reverse ordinal. So 3 out of the 4 base English ciphers, they all match. They both match. Very powerful. Jesuit Joe, Figueroa family, locked in, 330 English ordinal. LTNC, locked in, NX, Southeast Asia, locked in Japan with Coca-Cola Company. LOCK'DIN Beverages is bought by Coca-Cola. They all equal 333 in English ordinal. In the bottom two, locked in Japan with Coca-Cola Company. LOCK'DIN Beverages is bought by Coca-Cola, equals 144 in reduction. So you're seeing the powerful connections here. And again, I'm not going off the rails. I am very resonant with the number 333, and you're seeing the connections. All right, it's easier to follow. Then what's interesting when it goes back to the Society of Jesus with 56 is from December 10th, 1898 to the very first day of fighting in the Philippines was 56 days. So from when we bought the Philippines from Spain into the first fight was 56 days, goes back to the Society of Jesus. Think of influence. And think of when the very first day of fighting happened in 1899, February 4th, to our very first day of being able to buy product. The 1st of April 2021 was 122 years and 56 days. Very powerful. Locked in, taking Jesuit Joe's products back to the Philippines via Figueroa family equals 333 in reduction. Manny Pacquiao is a Trojan horse into Japan for LOCK'DIN brand with the Coca-Cola Company equals 333 in reduction. LOCK'DIN brand with the Coca-Cola Company reclaims its dominance in the Far East Asia marketplace. LOCK'DIN brand with Coca-Cola Company reclaims its dominance in Far East Asia marketplace. 333 in reduction. Coca-Cola has been struggling. You know, their sales of soda has been declining because people want a more healthier option for beverages. But they have not found that successful brand yet. They bought Body Armor for about 5.6 million. Think about that. Society of Jesus 56, $5.6 billion. And it has floundered thus far. So Coca-Cola is going to be looking for something again. And I do believe in my heart it's going to be the LOCK'DIN brand with their products. It just makes too much sense with me. It just makes too much sense. To the next slide. And so the next one I want to bring up, the next book I read, The Secret Symbols of the Dollar Bill by David Ovason. And now this is where 13 comes into play. This is where 13 comes into play. We've talked about it. At the shareholder meeting, one of the shareholders, Russ, he counted the people that actually made it to the very first shareholders meeting. There was 13 of us. All right. So keep that in mind. So let's talk about the secret symbols of the dollar. The 13 stars make one constellation. This is all on the dollar bill. If you study the dollar bill, this is what pops up. Where's the dollar bill? Follow the dollar bill. This is what pops up. All right. Lots of symbolism in the dollar bill. Lots of symbolism. The 13 stars make one constellation. The 13 letters make one motto. The 13 leaves make one olive branch. There are 13 arrows in the eagle's hands on the dollar bill, in the eagle's talons on the dollar bill. There are 13 vertical divisions on the shield. There are 13 horizontal divisions on the shield. This is all on the dollar. This is all on the dollar right here. You can see that. All right. You can see that. It's ingrained in our country. LTNC equals 13. Cola equals 13. Coca equals 13. But also, they all equal 23 in reverse reduction as well. So LTNC, Coca-Cola, both equal 13 in reduction and 23 in reverse reduction. Locked in, America, expand US, all equal 32 in reduction. Our old name, next level, Expand US. Next level equals 104 in ordinal, 23 reduction. Expand US equals 104 in English ordinal, 32 in reduction. All right. And another key, we were told this month about a PR, the very first PR of the new year. We were told it's probably coming out on Friday. We were thinking, oh, Friday drop. No, it came out a day early, and I believe it was Thursday on January 4th, 2024. Now, I'm not saying, management understood what they're doing, but again, when we're in this world, a higher, we work on a higher clock, energies come through us, and symbolizes a lot of things. So it couldn't have been intentional, but somewhere the hidden hand within the management, they wanted to get it out on the day of 1/4, and it's by no accident because we have 13 date numerology on those days, going with LTNC. All right, going back to America. Think about the 13 original colonies of America. Okay, and so for some more Gematria decodes, we have, remember, $1. Remember when Stan used to say, hey, we're going to $1? He would say it like that. 33 in reduction. Expand USA, 33. All right. And we're going to get into 55. Again, we are in our Pluto Age of Aquarius age now. So this next Independence Day is important because America is now reaching their Pluto return, 248 years of being a nation. All right. Usually when a nation hits their Pluto return, there's usually turmoil, but there's also a chance for rebirth into something new. And so July 4th, 2024 has 55 date numerology right at the top. So the next Independence Day for America for their very first Pluto return has 55 date numerology. Now let's look into the Gematria. A Pluto return equals 55 in reduction. Labor Smart Inc. equals 55 in reduction. The United States equals 55 in reduction. Boston, Massachusetts, where we got our independence, where the battlefield was versus the British back in the 1700s, 55 reduction. All right. And then also Labor Smart Inc., 55 reduction, 89 reverse reduction. The United States, 55 reduction, 89 reverse reduction. So think about it. In a lot of retrospects, Labor Smart Inc. locked in is the United States water brand moving forward as it gets bought out by Coke, in my personal opinion. You see the design, an all-American type brand. Okay, so this is all powerful stuff. Some more great Gematria. What I typed in the abbreviations of every state within the original 13 colonies. All right, so all of them: New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia has historic link to LTNC, locked in water, and nootropic, all equals 333 in reduction. That's powerful. And then we go at the bottom again, the abbreviations of the original 13 colonies locked in. The original abbreviations of the original 13 colonies in LTNC equals, they both equal 330 English ordinal, 561 reverse ordinal, 183 reverse reduction, and 113 in Chaldean Gematria. Now, Chaldean is based off the scientific sound vibrations of the numerology. So in a lot of cases, a lot of numerologists, they believe that's the most pure type of Gematria, type of cipher, because it's based off sounds scientifically. So it's not just in order of ABC equals 1, 2, 3. The 13 original American colonies historically link LTNC and locked-in beverages, 333 in reduction. So at this point, you're seeing the power here. You're seeing it. It's undeniable. The connections here. We're the all-American brand. All right. So that's where we're at. And then even more, locked in water, Patriot approved. So back when the Revolutionary War happened, the American Army was nicknamed the Patriots. 331 English ordinal, 33, 133 English reduction. You see the connections here. You see the connections. So Lockheads date with destiny. All right, this is going to be the last slide for Locked In, but it's still very important. We talked about the dollar. All right, and we talked about this. We haven't talked about this round rule, and so this round rule is very esoteric and very important to America. The Great Pyramid, you know, one of the wonders of the world. It's on our dollar for a reason. And as you see here, the pyramid is truncated. It's actually its cap, its triangle right here is not on the. It's not, you know, attached to the pyramid. It's a truncated pyramid. And the uncapped pyramid may be a metaphor for the country which has not yet finished at a time of its pyramid's design. All right. The American story is still being written. Okay. That's why it's truncated. And truncated by definition is without its top or end section. America's still around. You know, we're going through a lot of issues right now within the world. People are trying to come for our power. Is the dollar being devalued? You know, people will believe that at one point BRICS was going to do something. Was Russia going to take us out? Was China going to take us out? You know, we're in our Pluto return. So there's a lot of things going on right now, but we're still here. Truncated pyramid equals 55 in Chaldean Caro numerology. So it goes right back to, remember, the United States, Boston, Massachusetts, our independence this year, 55 date numerology. All right. And so destiny is important. Destiny equals 33 reduction. Lockheads equals 33 reduction. Labor Smart Inc. equals 55 reduction. LTNC and KO's destiny equals 55 in reduction. All right, you're seeing it. You're seeing the connections being laid out. We have Lockheads equaling 33 reduction, but also 33 in Chaldean. And so again, the truncated pyramid, our destiny is still being written. And if you look at the dollar bill, we have in Roman numerals right at the bottom of the pyramid, 1776. We're still going. We're still going. And so for some more powerful gematria, before I get into my dividend portion of my presentation today. So for the people who just here for the LTNC Labor Smart Inc., we're about to finish up after these decodes before I get into my other analysts today. And so thank you for tuning in. And if you love this, let me know of your thoughts. But we have D. Arthur Turner IV, which is my full name, feels the destiny of Labor Smart Inc. locked in the Coca-Cola Company equals 333 in reduction. D. Arthur Turner IV uses Gematria to document locked in LTNC in the Coca-Cola Company's destiny equals 333 in English reduction. Okay. We also have Destiny of America continues with LTNC and KO's worldwide expansion of great drinks equals 333 reduction. Destiny awaits Labor Smart, Locked In, and Lockheads as they wait for buyout by the Coca-Cola Company, 333 reduction. And the last one, Destiny of America will continue with Locked In being bought out by the Coca-Cola Company, 330 in reduction. And so that's what I have for my lockheads today. That's what I have for my LTNC investors, my my hopers, my Labor Smart Inc. people. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from this section. I will be breaking it up in a different video on my other channel, so you can go back and revert back to this. And I believe this presentation will stand the test of time when we look at where we're going as a company and as we expand. And when you actually look back at what we did at the beginning, remember when the Olympics were happening in 2020, was in Japan. We have what was his name, like Justin Gatlin, who was about to make the Olympics, who was a next level ambassador for a good while on the sprint team. So there's a lot of connections there that have been there with Japan, LTNC, trying to get the water over in Southeast Asia. And with this Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather White fight happening this year, I think we're going to do some big things. You know, we're about to enter that corridor and we're about to change the beverage game. All right, we're not playing. So that's what I have for my Labor Smart Inc. People. Thank you for joining on.